The most feared man in Seoul sat on a cold hospital floor with blood on his hands and tears running down his face. Kang Tae-jun had killed men without blinking. He had built an empire on fear. He had never once let anyone see him weak. But tonight, outside the intensive care unit, he pressed his palms against his eyes and sobbed like a child. The nurses pretended not to notice. His men stood frozen in the hallway, unsure what to do. Their boss, the man who controlled half of Seoul's underground, was crying over his secretary, not his wife, not his family, his secretary, and she was dying because of him. This is the story of how a woman from Ghana who just wanted to pay her bills ended up changing a monster into a man. But to understand why Kang Tae-jun cried that night, you need to know how it started. You need to know about Afiavi. 3 months earlier, Afiavi Dzorkpata was running late for her first day of work. She had spent 20 minutes on the subway, gotten off at the wrong exit, and now she was speed-walking through downtown Seoul in shoes that were already giving her blisters. Her phone GPS kept switching between Korean and English, which did not help. The address led her to a tall glass building that looked expensive and cold. She checked her reflection in the lobby window. Her hair was neat. Her outfit was professional. She looked fine, even if she felt like a mess. The elevator took her to the 23rd floor. The doors opened to a reception area that was all black marble and sharp edges. A woman behind the desk looked up, saw Afiavi, and her expression flickered with surprise before settling into something polite. "I am here to see Mr. Kang," Afiavi said. "I am the new secretary." The receptionist blinked. "You are Afiavi Dzorkpata?" "Yes." "One moment." The woman picked up her phone and spoke rapidly in Korean. Afiavi caught a few words, but not enough to understand. She was still learning. After a few seconds, the receptionist hung up and smiled tightly. "Someone will come get you." Afiavi sat in one of the leather chairs and tried not to feel nervous. She had been in Seoul for 8 months. She had come here for a graduate program in international business, but her scholarship only covered tuition. She needed work. She needed money to send home. Her mother was counting on her. Her younger brothers were counting on her. So when she saw a job listing for a secretary position with good pay and benefits, she applied immediately. The interview had been strange. The man who interviewed her was not Mr. Kang, but someone named Mr. Shin. He had asked her odd questions. Do you pay attention to details? Can you stay calm under pressure? Are you comfortable working late hours? She said yes to everything, because she needed the job. A tall man in a dark suit appeared in the hallway. "Miss Dzorkpata?" She stood quickly. "Yes." "Follow me." He did not smile. He did not make small talk. He just walked, and Afiavi followed. The hallway was quiet, too quiet. She noticed that the offices they passed had frosted glass, so you could not see inside. There were cameras in every corner. They stopped in front of a large door at the end of the hall. The man knocked once, then opened it. "Mr. Kang, your new secretary is here. Send her in." The voice was deep and cold. Afiavi stepped inside, and the door closed behind her. The office was huge. A large desk sat near the window. A man stood with his back to her, looking out at the city. He did not turn around. "You are late," he said. Afiavi checked her watch. She was 4 minutes late. "I apologize. The subway was delayed. Do you think excuses will matter here?" She paused. "No." "Good." He finally turned around. Kang Tae-jun was younger than she expected, maybe mid-30s. His face was sharp and handsome in a way that made him look dangerous. His eyes were dark and unreadable. He looked at her the way someone might look at a piece of furniture they were considering buying. "Sit." She sat. He walked to his desk and opened a folder. "Your resume says you speak 4 languages: English, Korean, French, and Iwe." "Yes." "Your Korean is not fluent." "I am still learning, but I can read and write it well enough." "I understand more than I speak." He stared at her. She stared back. She had learned early in life that looking away made people think you were weak. "Your job is simple," he said. "You manage my schedule. You answer my calls. You handle paperwork. You do not ask questions about my business. You do not talk about my business. You show up on time, do your work, and go home. Understand?" Yes. If you see something unusual, you forget it. If you hear something unusual, you forget it. Your job is to be efficient and invisible. Can you do that? Afiavi hesitated. Something about the way he said it made her skin prickle. But she needed this job. Yes. Good. Your desk is outside. Mr. Shin will show you the filing system. Do not disturb me unless it is urgent. That was it. No welcome. No handshake. He sat down and started typing on his computer, dismissing her without another word. Afiavi stood and left the office. Her hands were shaking, just a little. Mr. Shin was waiting outside. He is always like that. You will get used to it. She was not sure she wanted to. Her desk was right outside Kang Tae-jun's office. It was neat and empty except for a computer, a phone, and a stack of files. Mr. Shin spent the next 2 hours explaining her duties. Most of it was normal office work. Scheduling meetings, organizing documents, answering emails, but there were strange parts too. Some of Mr. Kang's appointments are not on the official calendar, Mr. Shin said quietly. He will tell you about those directly. You do not write them down. You just remember them. Why? Mr. Shin gave her a look. You are not supposed to ask questions. Right. Also, if someone comes to see Mr. Kang and they do not have an appointment, you call security immediately. Do not let them near his office. Has that happened before? Yes. He did not elaborate. By lunchtime, Afiavi's head was spinning. She ate a quick meal at her desk, some kimbap she had bought that morning. She was halfway through it when Kang Tae-jun's door opened. He walked past her without looking and headed toward the elevator. She watched him go, then went back to her food. He returned an hour later with 2 other men. They were large, heavily built, and they looked like trouble. One of them had a scar across his jaw. They went into the office and closed the door. Afiavi tried to focus on her work, but she could hear raised voices inside. Not yelling, but intense. Then silence. Then the door opened, and the 2 men walked out. The one with the scar glanced at her, then smiled. It was not a nice smile. Pretty secretary, he said in Korean. Afiavi ignored him. Hey, I am talking to you. She looked up. Mr. Kang is busy. Do you need something else? The man laughed. I like her. Let's go, the other man said, pulling him toward the elevator. When they were gone, Afiavi let out a breath she did not know she was holding. The rest of the day passed without incident. At 6, she started packing her things. Kang Tae-jun's door opened. Where are you going? He asked. It is 6. My shift ends at 6. I did not say you could leave. She stared at him. The job listing said 9 to 6. The job listing also said you might need to work late. I have a meeting at 7. I need these files organized before then. He dropped a stack of folders on her desk. When you are done, you can go. He went back into his office. Afiavi looked at the files. There were at least 30 of them. She wanted to quit right there, but she thought about her mother. She thought about the rent she needed to pay. She sat back down and got to work. She finished at 8:30. Kang Tae-jun did not say thank you. He just took the files and told her to lock the door on her way out. When Afiavi finally got home that night, she collapsed on her bed and wondered what she had just signed up for. If you are already hooked and you want to see how a cold, heartless man becomes someone who breaks down in tears, make sure you stay until the end. You will not regret it. Things are about to get intense. The first week was brutal. Kang Tae-jun was not just demanding, he was impossible. He wanted things done immediately. He hated mistakes. He never gave praise, only corrections. Afiavi quickly learned that he did not care about excuses or explanations. He cared about results. But she also noticed things. She noticed that he did not eat lunch most days. He just worked straight through. She noticed that he got headaches, bad ones, because he would sit at his desk rubbing his temples. She noticed that people were afraid of him, not just respectful, afraid. On her 5th day, a man came to the office without an appointment. He was sweating and talking fast in Korean, begging to see Mr. Kang. Afiavi told him he needed to schedule a meeting. The man grabbed her wrist. Please, I need to talk to him. I will lose everything if I do not talk to him. Before Afiavi could react, the office door opened. Kang Tae-jun stood there, his expression dark. Let her go. The man released her immediately and started pleading. Kang Tae-jun said something in Korean, his voice low and sharp. The man went pale. Then 2 security guards appeared, and the man was escorted out. He was crying. Kang Tae-jun looked at Afiavi. Are you hurt? No. Good. Get back to work. That was it. No explanation. But an hour later, she found an ice pack on her desk with a note. For your wrist. It was the first kind thing he had done. The second week, Afiavi started bringing extra food to work. Not for him, just for herself. But she noticed he still was not eating, so one day, she left a container of jollof rice on his desk while he was in a meeting. When he came back, he stared at it. Then he called her into his office. What is this? Rice. I know it is rice. Why is it on my desk? Because you have not eaten anything today. You get headaches when you do not eat. He looked at her like she had said something strange. How do you know I get headaches? You rub your temples, and you squint at your computer screen. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, I did not ask for this. I know. Take it back. Okay. She reached for the container. Wait. He stopped her. What kind of rice is this? Jollof. It is Ghanaian. He opened the container and stared at it. Then he picked up a fork and took a bite. His expression did not change, but he took another bite, and another. It is good, he said finally. Thank you. You can go. She left, but the next day, the empty container was on her desk, cleaned. After that, something shifted. He was still cold, still demanding, but occasionally, he would ask her small questions. Where are you from? How long have you been in Seoul? Why did you come here? She answered honestly. She told him about her village in the Volta region. She told him about her family. She told him she wanted to build something better for them. He listened, but he never shared anything about himself. Still, Afiavi started to see past the cold exterior. She saw a man who worked 18-hour days, a man who barely slept, a man who carried a weight she did not understand. One night, she was working late again, finishing a report. It was almost 10. The office was empty except for the 2 of them. She heard something crash inside his office. She hesitated, then knocked. Mr. Kang? No answer. She opened the door. He was sitting at his desk, his head in his hands. A glass was shattered on the floor. Are you okay? She asked. Get out. But she did not. She walked over, careful to avoid the broken glass, and set a bottle of water on his desk. You should drink something. He looked up at her, and for the first time, she saw something other than coldness in his eyes. He looked exhausted. He looked human. Why are you still here? He asked quietly. Because you needed this report finished. No. Why are you still here? In this job, you could work anywhere. She thought about it. Because I need the money. And because you are not as bad as you think you are. He stared at her. You do not know anything about me. I know you leave ice packs for people when they get hurt. I know you pay your employees well. I know you work harder than anyone I have ever met. That is enough for me. Something flickered across his face, too fast for her to read. Then he looked away. Go home, Afiavi. It is late. It was the first time he had used her name. She left, but she thought about that moment for days. By the end of the first month, they had settled into an odd rhythm. She learned his moods. She learned when to speak and when to stay quiet. She learned that he hated coffee, but drank it anyway. She learned that he had no friends, no family that visited, no one who called just to check on him. He was completely alone, and somehow, without meaning to, Afiavi became the one constant in his life. She was there every morning. She was there every night. She did not want anything from him except her paycheck. She did not flatter him. She did not fear him. She just existed beside him, steady and quiet. Kang Tae-jun did not know what to do with that. One afternoon, a woman came to the office. She was beautiful, dressed in designer clothes, and she walked past Afiavi's desk like she owned the place. I am here to see Tae-jun, she said in Korean. Do you have an appointment? Afiavi asked. The woman laughed. I do not need one. Tell him Yuna is here. Afiavi called his office. "Mr. Kang, someone named Yuna is here to see you." There was a long pause. Then, "Send her in." Yuna smirked and walked past. She closed the door behind her. 20 minutes later, she came out, her face red with anger. She did not look at Afiavi. She just stormed to the elevator and left. Kang Tae-jun appeared in the doorway. "Hold my calls. Is everything okay?" "No, but it will be." He went back inside and slammed the door. Afiavi did not ask what happened, but she could guess. Someone from his past. Someone who wanted something. At the end of the day, she knocked on his door. "I am leaving. Do you need anything before I go?" He looked up from his desk. He looked tired. "No." She hesitated. "For what it is worth, whoever she was, she did not deserve your time." He blinked, surprised. "You do not even know what she wanted." "I do not need to. I saw her face when she left. People who care about you do not look that angry when you tell them no." For the first time, Kang Tae-jun almost smiled. Almost. "Good night, Afiavi." "Good night, Mr. Kang." 2 months in, Afiavi finally understood that her boss was not a normal businessman. She was not stupid. She had seen the strange meetings, the men with guns, the way people looked at Kang Tae-jun like he could end their lives with a word. She did not know exactly what he did, but she knew it was not legal. And she knew she should quit. But she did not. Maybe it was because the job paid well. Maybe it was because she had started to care about the sad, lonely man who worked himself to death. Maybe it was because, for the first time since moving to Seoul, she felt like she mattered to someone, even if that someone was a criminal. One evening, Kang Tae-jun called her into his office. "I have a meeting tomorrow night. I need you to come with me." She frowned. "Why?" "Because I said so." "That is not a reason." He looked at her, and for a moment she thought he might yell, but instead he sighed. "The people I am meeting do not trust me, but they will not try anything if I bring someone who looks innocent." "You look innocent." "I am not a prop. I will pay you double for the night." She needed the money. She hated that she needed the money. "Fine, but I am not doing anything illegal. You will just stand there and look pretty. That is all. I do not like this. I know, but I need you." The way he said it made her chest tighten. He did not say things like that. He did not admit he needed anyone. "Okay," she said quietly. "I will be there." He nodded. "Wear something nice. I will pick you up at 8. The next night, Afiavi put on the nicest dress she owned, a simple black one she had bought for a wedding last year. She waited outside her apartment building, nervous. A black car pulled up. The window rolled down, and Kang Tae-jun looked out. "Get in." She slid into the back seat. He was wearing a suit, dark and perfectly tailored. He looked like power and danger wrapped in expensive fabric. "You look nice," he said. "Thank you. So do you." The driver pulled into traffic. Afiavi tried to calm her nerves. "Where are we going?" "A restaurant in Gangnam. It is a simple meeting. You do not need to say anything. Just stay close to me." "Is this dangerous?" He did not answer right away. Then it should not be. Should not be. That was not comforting. They arrived at a restaurant that looked exclusive and cold. A man in a suit opened the door for them. Inside, it was dimly lit, almost empty. They were led to a private room in the back. 3 men were already sitting at the table. They stood when Kang Tae-jun entered. They greeted him in Korean, their voices polite but tense. Then they looked at Afiavi. One of them said something, and Kang Tae-jun replied sharply. The man smiled and nodded. They all sat. Afiavi stayed quiet, her hands folded in her lap. She did not understand most of the conversation, but she could read the room. These men did not like Kang Tae-jun. They were afraid of him, but they did not like him. The meeting went on for an hour. Food was brought out, but no one ate much. The tension was thick. Then one of the men said something that made Kang Tae-jun go very still. "Say that again," he said in English, his voice low. The man smiled. He repeated it in Korean. Kang Tae-jun stood. "We are done here." "Sit down, Kang. We are not finished." "Yes, we are." One of the other men stood too. His hand moved toward his jacket. Afiavi's heart stopped. Kang Tae-jun noticed. His eyes went cold. If you pull that out, you will not leave this room alive. The man hesitated. We are leaving, Kang Tae-jun said. He looked at Afiavi. Let's go. She stood quickly. Her legs felt like water, but she moved. Kang Tae-jun put a hand on her lower back, guiding her out of the room. She could feel eyes on her, watching, calculating. They made it to the car. The driver sped off immediately. Afiavi was shaking. What just happened? They tried to renegotiate our deal. I said no. That man was going to pull a gun. Yes. And you just stood there. Because if I showed fear, we would both be dead. She stared at him. You should not have brought me. I know. He looked at her, and for the first time, she saw something like regret in his eyes. I am sorry. They drove in silence for a while. Then Afiavi said, Who are you really? He looked out the window. Someone you should stay away from. Then why do you keep me around? He did not answer. When they pulled up to her building, she started to get out, but he stopped her. Afiavi. She turned. Thank you for coming tonight. I know I should not have asked. No, you should not have. But I am glad you were there. She did not know what to say to that, so she just nodded and got out of the car. That night, she lay awake in bed, her heart still racing. She thought about quitting. She thought about running as far away from Kang Tae-jun as possible, but she did not. Because somewhere along the way, she had started to care, and that was going to destroy her. The next week, everything felt different. Kang Tae-jun was quieter than usual. He watched her sometimes, like he was trying to figure something out. Afiavi pretended not to notice, but she did. She noticed everything. She noticed when he skipped meals again, so she left food on his desk. She noticed when he got another headache, so she left painkillers and water. She noticed when he looked at her like she was the only good thing in his terrible world, and that scared her more than anything. One Friday afternoon, he called her into his office. I need you to come with me again tonight. Her stomach dropped. No. He blinked. No. I am not doing that again. Find someone else. Afiavi. No. I am your secretary, not your bodyguard or your shield, or whatever you needed me for last time. I am done. He stood and walked around the desk. I am not taking you to a meeting. I am taking you to dinner. She stared at him. What? Dinner. To apologize for last week. You were right. I should not have put you in that situation. You do not need to apologize with dinner. Just say you are sorry. I already did, but I want to do this too. She crossed her arms. Why? Because you are the only person in my life who gives a damn if I am okay, and I want to say thank you. Her resolve cracked. Just a little. This is not another dangerous meeting, right? No, I promise. Just food. She sighed. Fine. But I am choosing the restaurant. He almost smiled. Deal. That night, she took him to a small Ghanaian restaurant run by a woman from Accra. The place was tiny and loud and full of life. Kang Tae-jun looked completely out of place in his expensive suit, but he sat down and did not complain. They ordered food. Afiavi got fufu and light soup. Kang Tae-jun got jollof rice and chicken. This is different, he said, looking around. Good different or bad different? Good. They ate in silence for a while. Then he said, Tell me about your family. So she did. She told him about her mother, who sold vegetables at the market. She told him about her 2 younger brothers who wanted to go to university. She told him about the house she wanted to build for them one day. Why did you leave? He asked. Because I could not give them a better life from there. I needed to go somewhere bigger, somewhere with more opportunities. And you chose Seoul. The scholarship chose Seoul. I just said yes. He nodded slowly. Do you miss home? Every single day. Then why stay? She looked at him. Because I made a promise, and I do not break promises. Something shifted in his expression. You are stronger than you look. I have to be. They finished eating, and Kang Tae-jun paid. When they walked out, the air was cool, and the streets were bright with lights. Thank you, he said, for tonight. You are welcome. He looked like he wanted to say something else, but he did not. He just walked her to the car and drove her home. When she got out, she turned back. "Mr. Kang? Yes? You are not as bad as you think you are." He stared at her for a long moment. Then, quietly, "You do not know what I have done." "Maybe not, but I know who you are now, and that is enough." She went inside before he could respond. Kang Tae-jun sat in the car for a long time after she left, staring at the building. And for the first time in years, he felt something other than emptiness. He felt hope. The following week was calm. Too calm. Afiavi should have known something was coming. On Thursday night, Kang Tae-jun asked her to stay late again. There was a contract that needed organizing. She agreed, even though she was tired. By 9, the office was empty except for them. She was finishing up the last file when he came out of his office. "I have another meeting tonight. I need you to come." Her stomach sank. "I thought you said no more meetings." "This one is important. They are always important. Afiavi, please." She looked at him. He looked tense, worried even. "Is this dangerous?" "No, I will make sure of it." She wanted to say no. Every part of her screamed to say no. But she looked into his eyes and saw something she had never seen before. Fear. "Okay," she whispered. "I will come." Relief flooded his face. "Thank you." They left together. The car ride was silent. Afiavi stared out the window, watching the city blur past. "Where are we going?" she asked. "A warehouse in Songpa. It is neutral ground." "Neutral ground for what?" "A deal. If it goes well, a lot of problems go away. And if it does not go well?" He did not answer. They pulled up to a large, dark building on the edge of the city. There were other cars already there. Men stood outside, smoking and talking. Kang Tae-jun looked at her. "Stay close to me. Do not leave my side, no matter what happens." "You are scaring me." "Good. Fear keeps you alert." He got out of the car and came around to open her door. She stepped out, her heart pounding. They walked toward the entrance. The men outside stopped talking and stared. One of them said something in Korean. Kang Tae-jun ignored him. Inside, the warehouse was cold and empty, except for a table in the center. 5 men stood around it. And that was when Afiavi knew. This was not a business meeting. This was a trap. Kang Tae-jun must have sensed it too because his whole body went rigid. His hand moved to his side, where Afiavi now realized he had a gun hidden under his jacket. One of the men stepped forward. He was older, with gray hair and a smile that made Afiavi's skin crawl. "Kang Tae-jun, you came." "We had an agreement, Park," Tae-jun said coldly. "Let's finish this." "Of course. But first, I see you brought a guest. How rude of you not to introduce us." "She is not part of this." "Then why is she here?" "That is none of your concern." Park laughed. "Everything that happens in my city is my concern. You have been taking liberties, Kang, making moves without permission. Did you think I would not notice?" "I do not need your permission. That is where you are wrong." The other men started moving, spreading out. Afiavi's breath caught. This was bad. This was very bad. Tae-jun must have signaled someone, because suddenly the doors burst open. His men rushed in, at least 10 of them. Park did not look surprised. He looked pleased. "You think I did not plan for this?" Park said. He snapped his fingers. More men appeared from the shadows. 20, maybe 30. They had guns, all of them. Afiavi's legs almost gave out. Tae-jun grabbed her arm, pulling her behind him. "Stay behind me. Do not move." "Tae-jun, we need to leave," she whispered. "We are not leaving, not yet. Are you insane? Trust me." But she could hear the tension in his voice. He had not expected this many people either. Park smiled wider. "You have 2 choices, Kang. Walk away from your territories in Gangnam and Itaewon, or we settle this right now. You know I am not walking away." "Then I guess we have a problem." The air went electric. Everyone was waiting. One wrong move and this whole place would explode into violence. Tae-jun's voice was calm, deadly calm. "If you start this, Park, you will lose. Maybe not today. But I will make sure you lose everything." Big words for a man who is outnumbered 3 to 1. Numbers do not mean anything if your men are cowards. One of Park's men shouted something angry in Korean. Park raised a hand to silence him. Last chance, Kang. Walk away. No. Park's smile disappeared. Then you are a dead man. Everything happened at once. Someone shouted. Guns were drawn. Tae-jun shoved Afiavi toward the door. Run! But she could not move. She was frozen, her body refusing to obey. Then the first gunshot rang out. The sound was deafening. Afiavi screamed. More gunshots followed, rapid and chaotic. Tae-jun's men returned fire. People were shouting. Someone fell. Tae-jun grabbed her and pulled her toward a stack of crates. They ducked behind it. Bullets hit the wood, splintering it. Stay down, he yelled over the noise. We are going to die, she gasped. No, we are not, I promise. He leaned out and fired twice. Afiavi pressed her hands over her ears. This could not be real. This could not be happening. More gunfire. More shouting. She smelled smoke and something metallic. Blood. Tae-jun was on his phone, yelling in Korean. Calling for backup, probably. But would it come in time? Then, suddenly, the gunfire slowed, stopped. Silence. Tae-jun looked around the edge of the crate. They are retreating. What? Park's men. They are leaving. Afiavi could not believe it. She peeked out. Bodies were on the ground. Some were moving, groaning. Others were not. Park and most of his men were gone. Tae-jun's men were checking the wounded. One of them shouted something. Tae-jun stood, pulling Afiavi up with him. It is over, he said. But his hand was still gripping hers, tight. You said this was not dangerous, she said, her voice shaking. I know. I am sorry. I did not think he would do this. You did not think? I could have died. We both could have died. But we did not. That is not the point. He looked at her, and she saw something flicker in his eyes. Guilt, maybe, or regret. You are right, he said quietly. I should not have brought you. This is my fault. She wanted to yell at him. She wanted to cry. But before she could do either, one of his men ran over, speaking rapidly in Korean. Tae-jun's expression darkened. He responded, his voice sharp. The man nodded and ran off. What is it? Afiavi asked. Park left a message. This is not over. Her blood went cold. What does that mean? It means he is going to come after me, and anyone close to me. She stepped back. I need to quit. I cannot do this anymore. No. Excuse me? You cannot quit. Not now. If you leave, Park will think you know something. He will come after you to get to me. So I am trapped. You are protected. There is a difference. I do not feel protected. I feel like I am in the middle of a war I did not sign up for. He reached for her, but she pulled away. Do not touch me. Afiavi, please. Take me home, now. His jaw tightened, but he nodded. Fine, let's go. The car ride back was silent. Afiavi stared out the window, her whole body still trembling. She could not stop replaying the gunshots in her head, the way people fell, the blood. When they pulled up to her building, she got out without a word. Afiavi, wait. She turned. Tae-jun had gotten out of the car too. He looked at her, and for once, he did not look cold or calculating. He looked lost. I am sorry, he said. I never wanted this for you. But it happened anyway. I know, and I will make sure it does not happen again. How? By locking me in an office. By dragging me to more meetings where people try to kill us. By keeping you close, where I can see you, where I know you are safe. She laughed bitterly. You think you can keep me safe? You almost got me killed tonight. And I will spend the rest of my life making sure that never happens again. Something in his voice made her pause. He meant it. He actually meant it. But it did not change anything. I am done, Tae-jun. Find another secretary. She turned and walked toward her building. This time, he did not stop her. But when she looked back from her window, his car was still there. He sat inside, watching her building, making sure she got in safely. Even now, he was trying to protect her. And she hated that it made her heart ache. The next morning, Afiavi did not go to work. She stayed in bed, staring at the ceiling. Her phone rang 6 times, all calls from the office. She ignored them. She was done. She was really done. But then someone knocked on her door. She opened it to find Mr. Shin standing there, looking uncomfortable. "Mr. Dzorkpata, Mr. Kang sent me. Tell him I quit. He said you would say that. He asked me to give you this." Mr. Shin handed her an envelope. She opened it. Inside was a check. Enough money to cover 3 months of rent and then some. And a note. "I am sorry. Please do not leave because of my mistakes. Take the week off. Paid. Come back when you are ready. If you still want to quit after that, I will not stop you." She stared at the note. His handwriting was sharp and precise, just like him. "He also assigned a security detail to your building," Mr. Shin added, "just in case." "I did not ask for that. He did not ask if you wanted it. He just did it." "Of course he did." Mr. Shin shifted awkwardly. "For what it is worth, I have worked for Mr. Kang for 8 years. I have never seen him apologize to anyone. You must mean something to him. I am just his secretary." "No, you are not." Mr. Shin left before she could respond. Afiavi closed the door and looked at the check again. She should rip it up. She should walk away and never look back. But she thought about her mother, her brothers, the bills piling up. She hated that she needed the money. She hated that she was considering going back. But most of all, she hated that part of her was worried about Kang Tae-jun. 3 days passed. Afiavi spent them thinking, pacing, trying to figure out what to do. She called her mother, but she did not tell her what happened. She just asked for advice. "Are you safe?" her mother asked. "Yes." "Are you being treated well?" "Mostly." "Then what is the problem?" "I do not know if I should stay." Her mother was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "You have always known what is right, Afiavi. Trust yourself. If you need to leave, leave. But if you stay, make sure it is because you want to, not because you are afraid." After the call, Afiavi sat on her bed and thought about that. Was she afraid? Yes. But was that why she wanted to leave? Or was she leaving because staying meant getting closer to a man who lived in a world of violence and danger? A man who, despite everything, had never actually hurt her. A man who looked at her like she was the only good thing in his life. She did not have an answer. On the 4th day, she went back to work. When she walked into the office, everyone stared. Mr. Shin smiled. "Welcome back." "Is he in?" she asked, nodding toward Tae-jun's office. "Yes. He has been here since 5 in the morning." She knocked on his door. "Come in." She opened it. Tae-jun was at his desk, papers spread everywhere. He looked up, and when he saw her, he froze. "You came back," he said. "I did." "Why?" She set her bag down. "Because you were right. If I leave now, I am in danger, so I might as well stay and get paid for it." He stared at her. "That is the only reason? What other reason would there be?" He looked like he wanted to say something, but he did not. He just nodded. "Okay. But I have conditions." "Name them." "No more meetings. Ever. I do not care how important they are. I am your secretary, not your bodyguard." "Agreed. And you tell me the truth. About what you do, about the danger. I am not walking into another situation blind." He hesitated. "You do not want to know the truth." "Maybe not, but I deserve it." He was quiet for a long time. Then he stood and walked to the window. "I run an organization. Gambling, protection, smuggling. I control territory. I make deals. And sometimes, I hurt people who get in my way." "Have you killed anyone?" "Yes." She should have felt horrified. She should have run. But instead, she just felt sad. "Do you regret it?" "Some of them, not all." "And Park? Is he going to come after us again?" "I do not know, but I am prepared if he does." She took a breath. "Okay." He turned to her, surprised. "Okay? I am not saying I agree with what you do, but I understand why you are telling me, and I appreciate the honesty. You are not going to quit?" "Not yet, but I reserve the right to change my mind." For the first time in days, he almost smiled. Fair enough. If you are still with me, I need you to do something. Drop a comment and tell me if you think Afiavi should stay or leave, because what happens next is going to change everything. And trust me, you do not want to miss it. Things went back to normal, or as normal as they could be, given everything. Afiavi returned to her routine. Tae-jun returned to his work, but something had shifted between them. He was more careful around her now. He asked if she was okay more often. He made sure she left on time. And she noticed he was working even harder than before, like he was trying to fix something, or prepare for something. 2 weeks after the warehouse, he called her into his office. I have to go to another meeting tonight. Her stomach dropped. You promised? I know, but this one is different. I am meeting with someone who can end the conflict with Park. It is the only way to keep you safe. I told you, I am not going to any more meetings. I am not asking you to come. I am just telling you where I will be, in case something happens. Nothing is going to happen. Probably not, but I wanted you to know. She frowned. Why are you telling me this? Because you were right. You deserve the truth. That night, Afiavi tried to focus on other things. She made dinner. She called a friend. She tried to watch a drama on her laptop. But she could not stop thinking about Tae-jun. At 10, her phone rang. It was Mr. Shin. Miss Dzorkpata, there has been an incident. Her heart stopped. What kind of incident? Mr. Kang's meeting was ambushed. There was gunfire. He is asking for you. Is he hurt? No, but he insists you come to the office. He says it is important. She should have said no. She should have hung up. But she grabbed her coat and ran outside. The drive to the office felt like it took forever. When she got there, the building was almost empty. She took the elevator to the 23rd floor. Tae-jun was in his office, pacing. When he saw her, relief flooded his face. You are okay, he said. Of course I am okay. What happened? Park sent men to the meeting. They tried to kill me. Did they hurt you? No. My men handled it. But Park made his message clear. He is coming after everyone close to me. Her blood went cold. What does that mean? It means you are in danger. Real danger. I need to move you somewhere safe. Move me, where? I have a secure apartment in Gangnam. You will stay there until this is over. Absolutely not. I am not leaving my home because of your war. Afiavi, this is not a negotiation. If you stay at your apartment, you are a target. Then hire more security. I am not hiding. You are not listening. Park does not care if you are innocent. He will use you to get to me. Then maybe you should be the one hiding. I am trying to protect you. I do not need your protection. I need you to fix this. I am trying. They stared at each other, both breathing hard. Then Tae-jun ran a hand through his hair and looked away. I cannot lose you, he said quietly. She blinked. What? You heard me. I cannot lose you. You are the only person in this city who does not treat me like a monster. The only person who cares if I eat or sleep or live through the day. If something happens to you because of me, I will never forgive myself. Her heart twisted. Tae-jun, please, just do this one thing. Stay in the safe apartment for a few days. Let me handle Park, and when it is over, you can go back to your life. I will even give you a raise. She wanted to argue, but she saw the desperation in his eyes. Fine, she said, but only for a few days. Relief washed over him. Thank you. He made a call, and within an hour, Afiavi was moved to a sleek apartment in Gangnam. It was massive, with a view of the city and furniture that looked too expensive to touch. 2 guards were stationed outside the door. She felt like a prisoner, but at least she was safe. For 3 days, she stayed in the apartment. Tae-jun called her every morning and every night to check on her. He sounded tired, stressed, but he always made sure she was okay before he hung up. On the 4th day, he called and said, "It is almost over. I am meeting with Park tomorrow. If it goes well, you can go home." And if it does not go well, it will. But he did not sound convinced. That night, Afiavi could not sleep. She kept thinking about Tae-jun walking into another meeting, another trap. She thought about him getting hurt. or worse. And she realized something. She cared about him, not as a boss, not as someone who paid her bills. She cared about him as a person, and that terrified her. The next evening her phone rang. It was Mr. Shin again. "Mr. Dzorkpata, Mr. Kang asked me to pick you up." "Why?" "He wants you at the meeting." Her stomach dropped. "He promised I would not have to go to any more meetings." "I know. But he said he needs you there. He said it is the only way Park will agree to a truce." "That does not make sense. I am just delivering the message." She wanted to refuse, but something in Mr. Shin's tone made her nervous. "Fine. I will be downstairs in 10 minutes. The car ride was tense. Mr. Shin would not tell her anything else. He just drove. They pulled up to an old building on the outskirts of Seoul. It looked abandoned. Afiavi's instincts screamed at her to run. But she got out of the car. Tae-jun was waiting by the entrance. When he saw her, his expression flickered with something like pain. "You should not be here," he said. "Then why did you ask Mr. Shin to bring me?" "I did not." Her blood turned to ice. "What?" Before either of them could move, men appeared from the shadows, at least a dozen of them, and Park stepped out from the building smiling. "Hello again, Kang. I see you brought your little secretary. How convenient." Tae-jun stepped in front of Afiavi. "Let her go. This is between us." "No, I do not think so. You took something from me, so I am going to take something from you." Guns were raised. Afiavi's heart pounded. This was it. They were going to die. But then Tae-jun did something she did not expect. He raised his hands. "You want me? Fine. Take me. Just let her walk away." "Tae-jun, no," Afiavi whispered. "Quiet," he said, not looking at her. "Park, let her go. She is not part of this." Park laughed. "You really care about her, do not you? How sweet, and how stupid." He nodded to one of his men. The man raised his gun, aimed it at Afiavi. Tae-jun lunged forward. "No!" The gunshot echoed through the night. For a split second, everything stopped. Then Afiavi felt a sharp, burning pain in her side. She looked down. Blood was spreading across her shirt. She tried to speak, but no words came. Her legs gave out. She fell. The last thing she heard was Tae-jun screaming her name. When Afiavi opened her eyes, everything was white. Bright. Painful. She blinked, trying to focus. A hospital room. Machines beeping. An IV in her arm. She tried to sit up, but pain shot through her side. She gasped. "Do not move!" She turned her head. Tae-jun was sitting in a chair beside her bed. He looked terrible. His clothes were wrinkled, his eyes were red. He had not shaved. "What happened?" she whispered. "You were shot." The memory came flooding back. The gunshot. The pain. Falling. "How long have I been here?" 3 days. 3 days? You were in surgery for 6 hours. Then you were in a coma. The doctors were not sure you would wake up. His voice cracked on the last word. She stared at him. "Have you been here the whole time?" He did not answer, but the look on his face told her everything. "You should go home," she said. "You look terrible." He laughed, but it sounded broken. "You almost died, and you are worried about how I look. Someone has to worry about you." "Why?" "Because no one else does." He looked away. He saw his jaw tighten, his hands clench. "I am sorry," he said quietly. "This is my fault. I should have protected you. I should have seen the trap. I should have—" "Stop." "What?" "Stop blaming yourself. You did not pull the trigger. But I brought you into this world. I made you a target. I chose to stay. I could have quit. I did not. You stayed because I manipulated you into thinking you had no choice. No, I stayed because I wanted to." He finally looked at her, and she saw tears in his eyes. Kang Tae-jun, the man who never cried, had tears running down his face. "I thought I lost you," he whispered. Her heart broke, "But you did not. I sat outside the operating room for 6 hours. Then I sat beside your bed for 3 days. And the whole time, all I could think about was how you were the only good thing in my life. And I destroyed you. You did not destroy me. I am still here. Barely. She reached for his hand. He flinched, but he did not pull away. "I am okay," she said. "I am going to be okay." He stared at their joined hands. Then, slowly, he brought her hand to his forehead and closed his eyes. And he cried. Not loud, dramatic sobs, just quiet, broken tears. Afiavi did not know what to say, so she just held his hand and let him fall apart. Because for the first time in his life, Kang Tae-jun had someone who would catch him. After a while, Tae-jun pulled himself together. He wiped his face and sat back, looking embarrassed. "I am sorry," he said. "You should not have to see that." "Why not?" "Because I am supposed to be strong." "You are strong, but strong people cry too." He looked at her like she had just said something revolutionary. Maybe, in his world, she had. A nurse came in to check her vitals. She smiled at Afiavi. "You are awake. That is wonderful. How are you feeling?" "Like I got shot." The nurse laughed. "The doctor will be in soon to talk to you. You were very lucky. The bullet missed all your major organs." When the nurse left, Afiavi turned to Tae-jun. "What happened to Park?" His expression went cold. "He is dead." She blinked. "You killed him?" "Yes." "What about his men?" "Most of them are dead, the rest scattered. The threat is over." She should have felt relieved, but instead, she just felt empty. "How many people died because of me?" "None of them died because of you. They died because of me, because of the choices I made." "That does not make me feel better." "I know." The doctor came in and examined her. He said she was healing well but would need to stay in the hospital for at least another week. After he left, Afiavi and Tae-jun sat in silence. Finally, she said, "I want to know everything." "Everything about what?" "About you, about your life, about how you became this person." He leaned back in his chair. "Why?" "Because I almost died for your world. I deserve to know what it is." He was quiet for a long moment. Then he started talking. He told her about growing up poor in Busan, about his father, who drank and gambled away every bit of money they had, about his mother, who worked 3 jobs and still could not feed them properly, about the day his father sold everything they owned to pay a debt and then disappeared. He told her about being 15 and angry and desperate, about meeting a man who offered him work, dangerous work, but it paid, about his first job, which was delivering packages he knew contained drugs, about how easy it was to slip deeper into that world. He told her about rising through the ranks, about being smart and ruthless, about making a name for himself, about building an empire on fear and violence. "I told myself I was doing it to survive," he said, "to never be poor again, to never be powerless again. But somewhere along the way, it stopped being about survival. It became about control, about making sure no one could ever hurt me." "Did it work?" Afiavi asked quietly. "No, because I was already hurting myself." She looked at him, really looked at him, and she saw a man who had built walls so high that he had trapped himself inside them. "Why did you keep me around?" she asked. "You could have hired anyone." "Because you were different. Everyone else either feared me or wanted something from me. But you just treated me like a person. You left food on my desk. You asked if I was okay. You did not want anything except your paycheck. And that was the kindest thing anyone had ever done for me." Her chest tightened. "Tae-jun, I know it sounds pathetic. A grown man being grateful that someone asked if he ate lunch. But I was so tired of being alone. And then you showed up, and suddenly I was not alone anymore." Tears pricked her eyes. "You should have told me the truth from the beginning." "I know, but I was selfish. I did not want you to leave. And now I am even more selfish. Because even after everything, I still do not want you to leave." She looked away. "I do not know if I can do this anymore." "I understand." "Do you?" "Because I came to Seoul to build a better life, to help my family, to become someone my mother could be proud of. And instead, I got shot because I worked for a criminal." "You are right. You deserve better than this." "I do. But the worst part is," she trailed off. "What?" "The worst part is that I care about you anyway, and I hate myself for it." He looked stunned. "You care about me?" Of course I do. I would not have stayed this long if I did not. But caring about you almost got me killed. So I need you to leave. What? Leave. Go home. Let me heal. And when I get out of this hospital, I am quitting. For real this time. Pain flashed across his face. Afiavi, please. No. I have made up my mind. I cannot be part of your world anymore. It is killing me. Literally. He stood slowly. If that is what you want, I will respect it. But I need you to know something first. What? You changed me. I do not know how or when it happened, but you did. And even if you never want to see me again, I will spend the rest of my life trying to be the man you thought I could be. He walked to the door, then stopped. I will make sure your hospital bills are covered, and I will arrange security until you are fully healed. After that, you will never have to see me again. Tae-jun, wait. He turned. Did you get hurt? She asked. When Park's men attacked, did they hurt you? He looked at her for a long moment. No, because the only thing I cared about was getting to you. Then he left. Afiavi stared at the closed door and felt something break inside her chest. The next week passed slowly. Afiavi healed. Her mother flew in from Ghana, worried and crying. Afiavi told her she had been mugged, which was not exactly a lie. Her mother stayed for 4 days, fussing over her, bringing her home-cooked meals, praying over her. When her mother left, Afiavi felt more alone than ever. Tae-jun did not visit, but every morning, flowers appeared in her room. No note, just flowers. She knew they were from him. Mr. Shin visited once. He brought her things from her apartment and looked sad. Mr. Kang is not doing well, he said. That is not my problem anymore. I know, but I thought you should know. He has been different since you told him to leave. Quieter. He barely eats. He barely sleeps. He will survive. He always does. Maybe. But I do not think he wants to anymore. After Mr. Shin left, Afiavi tried not to think about Tae-jun. She tried to focus on getting better, on making plans for her future. But every night, she thought about him sitting beside her bed for 3 days. She thought about the tears on his face. She thought about the way he looked at her, like she was the only light in his darkness. And she wondered if she had made a mistake. 2 weeks later, Afiavi was discharged from the hospital. She went back to her apartment, which felt too quiet and too empty. She had enough money saved to last a few months. She started looking for new jobs. But every job felt wrong, too boring, too simple, too safe. She missed the chaos. She missed the challenge. She missed him. 1 month after the shooting, Afiavi was at a coffee shop when her phone rang. It was a number she did not recognize. Hello, Miss Dzorkpata. This is Detective Kim from the Seoul Metropolitan Police. Her heart stopped. Is everything okay? I am calling about Kang Tae-jun. Do you know him? Yes. Why? What happened? He turned himself in this morning. The world tilted. What? He confessed to multiple crimes: racketeering, illegal gambling, smuggling. He provided evidence, names, locations. He is cooperating fully. I do not understand. Why would he do that? I was hoping you could tell me. He listed you as his emergency contact. Afiavi's hands shook. Where is he now? At the station. He is asking to see you. She should have said no. She should have hung up and moved on with her life. But instead, she grabbed her coat and ran. The police station was cold and gray and smelled like old coffee. Detective Kim led her to a small room with a table and 2 chairs. Tae-jun sat on one side, his hands cuffed in front of him. He looked terrible, thinner, exhausted. But when he saw her, something like relief crossed his face. You came, he said. What did you do? She demanded. I made a choice. You turned yourself in. You are going to prison. Yes. Why? He looked down at his cuffed hands. Because you asked me who I really was, and I did not like the answer. So I decided to become someone different. By confessing, by taking responsibility for everything I have done. Every life I ruined, every law I broke, I am done running from it. She sat down across from him, her mind spinning. How long will you be in prison? The prosecutor is offering a deal. 10 years, maybe less with good behavior, because I am cooperating. 10 years. Yes. And you just agreed to that? Yes. Why? He finally looked at her. Because you were right. I could not fix this while I was still in that world. So I left. Completely. I dismantled my organization. I gave the police everything they needed to take down everyone else. And now I am paying for what I did. Tears filled her eyes. You are an idiot. I know. You threw away your entire life. No, I threw away the life that almost killed you. There is a difference. Tae-jun, I do not expect you to wait for me. I do not expect you to forgive me. I just needed you to know that you were right. I am not a good man, but I am trying to be better. And it is because of you. A tear rolled down her cheek. I do not know what to say. You do not have to say anything. I just wanted to see you one more time, to make sure you were okay. I am okay, physically anyway. Good. That is all I needed to hear. Detective Kim knocked on the door. Time is up. Tae-jun stood. Afiavi stood too. Goodbye, Afiavi, he said quietly. Thank you for everything. He turned to leave, but she grabbed his arm. The guard tensed, but Tae-jun waved him off. What happens to me now? She asked. What do I do? You live, you go back to school, you help your family, you build the life you came here for, you forget about me. And if I do not want to forget about you? He looked at her, surprised. Why would you want to remember? Because you are the most frustrating, complicated, infuriating person I have ever met. And somehow, you are also the person who made me feel like I mattered. His eyes glistened. You do matter, more than you know. Then do not ask me to forget you. Afiavi, I am not saying I forgive you for everything. I am not saying we will ever go back to the way things were, but I am saying that I am not ready to let you go yet. He stared at her. You should let me go. I am going to prison. I know, but I also know that you are trying to change, and that matters. It might be 10 years before I get out. Then I guess I will see you in 10 years. You do not mean that. Yes, I do. For the first time in weeks, Kang Tae-jun smiled. A real, genuine smile. You are too good for me. I know, but you are stuck with me anyway. Detective Kim opened the door. We really need to go now. Tae-jun nodded. He looked at Afiavi one more time. Thank you. For what? For being you. Then he was gone. Afiavi stood in the empty room, her heart aching and full at the same time. She did not know what the future held. She did not know if she was making the right choice. But for the first time in a long time, she felt like she was choosing for herself, and that was enough. 3 years later, Afiavi sat in a small visiting room, waiting. She had been here dozens of times now, but it never got easier. The gray walls, the fluorescent lights, the guards watching everything. The door opened, and Tae-jun walked in. He looked different, healthier. His hair was shorter. He had put on some weight, but his eyes were the same. Dark and intense and focused completely on her. He sat down across from her and smiled. You came. I always come. I know, but I am always surprised. You should not be. I told you I was not letting you go. He laughed softly. How is work? Good. I got promoted. I am managing a whole team now. I knew you would. How are you? Better. I finished another course. Business management this time. I figure I should learn how to run a legitimate business for when I get out. When do you think that will be? My lawyer thinks I might get early release in 2 more years, so 5 years total instead of 10. That is good news. It is, but it is still 2 more years. I can wait 2 more years. He looked at her seriously. You should not have to wait. You should be living your life, dating, moving forward. I am living my life. I am just choosing to include you in it. Why? She smiled. Because you are my friend, and friends do not give up on each other. Something shifted in his expression. Is that all I am? Your friend? Her heart skipped. What else would you be? I do not know, but I think about you every day. I think about the way you looked at me like I was worth saving. I think about the way you never gave up on me. even when I gave up on myself, and I wonder if maybe, when I get out, we could be more than friends." She felt her cheeks warm. "You are asking me this now, while you are in prison? I know the timing is terrible, but I needed you to know, in case you were waiting for someone else, someone better. There is no one else, and there will not be." "Why?" "Because I already found the person I want. He is just taking a really long detour." He reached across the table and took her hand. The guard shifted, but did not stop him. "I do not deserve you." "Probably not. But you are stuck with me anyway. I am okay with that." They sat there, holding hands, talking about small things. Her job, his classes, her family, his plans for the future. And for the first time, the future felt real. Not perfect, but real. When visiting hours ended, Tae-jun walked her to the door. "I will see you next week." "Of course." "Afiavi, yes? Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for not giving up on yourself." He smiled, and as she walked out of the prison, she felt lighter than she had in years. 2 years later, Afiavi stood outside the prison gates, her heart pounding. It was early morning. The sun was just starting to rise. The gates opened, and Tae-jun walked out. He was wearing simple clothes, jeans and a sweater. He carried a small bag with his belongings. He stopped when he saw her. "You are here," he said. "Where else would I be?" He walked over, slowly, like he could not believe she was real. "I thought maybe you changed your mind." "Not a chance." He dropped his bag and pulled her into a hug. She wrapped her arms around him and held on tight. "I missed you," he whispered. "I missed you too." They stood there for a long time, just holding each other. Then he pulled back and looked at her. "What now?" "Now you start your new life. We already set everything up. You have an apartment. You have a job interview next week at a security consulting firm. One that actually follows the law." He laughed. "You planned everything. Someone had to. What about us? What about us? Are we really doing this? Trying to build something together?" She smiled. "If you want to." "I do, more than anything. But I need you to know something first." "What?" "I am not the same person I was. Prison changed me. I am calmer, quieter. I am not powerful anymore. I am just a man trying to start over." "Good. Because I never wanted the powerful, scary version of you. I wanted the version who left ice packs on desks and ate jollof rice, and cried when he thought he lost someone he cared about." His eyes softened. "I love you. I should have said it years ago, but I am saying it now. I love you, Afiavi Dzorkpata." Her heart swelled. "I love you too, Kang Tae-jun." He cupped her face and kissed her. It was soft and gentle, and full of promise. When they pulled apart, they were both smiling. "So what do we do now?" he asked. "Now we go get breakfast. I know a place that makes really good jollof rice." He laughed. "That sounds perfect." They walked to her car, hand in hand. The sun rose higher, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. It was not a perfect ending. They still had challenges ahead. Tae-jun still had to rebuild his life. Afiavi still had her own dreams to chase. But they had each other, and that was more than enough. 1 year later, Afiavi stood in front of a small office building in Itaewon. The sign above the door read Kang Security Consulting. Tae-jun appeared in the doorway, smiling. "What do you think?" "I think it is perfect. Want to come inside? I will give you a tour." She followed him in. The office was small but clean. There were 3 desks, a conference room, and a tiny kitchen. It was nothing like his old empire, but it was honest. It was legal. It was his. "Business is good," he said. "I have 4 clients already. Small businesses that need security assessments. It is not exciting, but it pays the bills. I am proud of you." He turned to her. "I could not have done this without you." "Yes, you could have." "No, I would have given up 100 times if you had not been there. You believed in me when I did not believe in myself." She walked over and wrapped her arms around him. "That is what love is." He held her close. "I am never letting you go." "Good, because I am not going anywhere." They stood there, in his tiny office, holding each other. Outside, the city buzzed with life. People rushed past, chasing dreams and building futures. And inside, two people who had survived violence and pain and loss were building something new, something quiet, something good, something that looked a lot like home. 6 months later, Afiavi brought Tae-jun to Ghana to meet her family. Her mother cried when she saw him. Her brothers interrogated him for hours, but by the end of the trip they accepted him. "He is a good man," her mother said. "I can see it in his eyes. He looks at you like you are his whole world." "He is," Afiavi said, "and I am his." On their last night in Ghana, they sat on the porch of her family's house, watching the stars. "Thank you for bringing me here," Tae-jun said. "Thank you for coming. I never thought I would have this. A family, a home, someone who loves me. You deserve it. I am not sure about that, but I am grateful for it." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "Do you ever miss it? Your old life?" "No, I do not miss the power or the money or the fear. I just miss feeling like I mattered." "You matter now. To me, to my family, to your clients. You matter in ways that actually count." He kissed the top of her head. "I know, and that is enough." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars and listening to the sounds of the village. Somewhere in the distance, someone was playing music. Children were laughing. It was peaceful. It was simple. It was everything Tae-jun never knew he needed. "Marry me," he said suddenly. Afiavi sat up. "What?" "Marry me. I do not have a ring yet. I do not have a fancy speech prepared, but I know that I want to spend the rest of my life with you. So marry me." Tears filled her eyes. "Yes. Yes? Yes? Of course yes." He pulled her into his arms and kissed her. And under the stars in a small village in Ghana, a man who once built an empire on fear found something infinitely more valuable. He found love. So that is the story of how the Korean Mafia boss who never cried fell apart when he saw his secretary in a coma. It is the story of a woman who crossed an ocean to build a better life and ended up saving a man who did not know he needed saving. It is a story about guilt and redemption and the kind of love that changes everything. If this story touched your heart, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button so you do not miss more stories like this. Because everyone deserves a love story that reminds them that people can change, that second chances are real, and that sometimes the most broken people become the most beautiful when someone believes in them. Leave a comment and tell me what you thought. And remember, no matter where you are or what you have done, it is never too late to become who you were meant to be.